Okay, so now let's try and determine how many columns are being selected into this page. So how much information are being selected and displayed on this page. So to do that, we're going to use the order by command. So we did order by 1 and that returned something that was acceptable, and order by 100,000 gave us an error. So let's try and do order by 10 and we still get an error. So I'm going to do an order by 5 and that works. So let's try to do an order by 6 and that gives an error. So by doing this, we know that there is 5 columns are being selected from a certain table, and it's the accounts table, and displayed on this page. So let's try and build our own select statement and get it to be executed on the target computer. So let's come here and try to build it there. So at the moment, the statement is select star from accounts where your username is equal to Zaid, and we're doing an order by 1. So let's see if we can fix that and get it to select something that we like. So the normal way to select stuff is using this format. But because we're trying to do multiple selects and we're trying to do it from the URL, we're going to have to use a union first, and then we're going to say select. Then we need to imagine what's happening on this application. So in this web application, we know that there are 5 records being selected. So there are 5 columns that are being selected. So we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we got that from the order by command. So let's run this and see what happens. And I spelled union wrong. And as you can see now, the selection was right. And we got the first selection. So the first selection that this line does has been done. And then it did the union. So it combined that selection with another selection, and it showed us something else. And as you can see here, we're only seeing 2, 3, and 4. And what that means is whatever value you put in number 2 or 3 or 4, whatever you want to select, if you put it in there, it's going to be displayed in this page in this particular location. And you can see that here you have results for 2. So whatever you put in 2 will also be shown in here. So let's try to see our database. So instead of number 2, I'm going to say database. And instead of number 3, I'm going to say username or user. And instead of number 4, I'm going to do version. And this will select the current database, the current user privileges that we have, and the version of the database. So let's see if this gets executed, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, cool. So the username is showing up as OWASP10, and that was number 2. So that is the database that we're looking for. So the database is OWASP10. The current user that we're logged in as is root at localhost. So we're the root user. And in the signature, these stuff actually don't mean anything. We're only concerned about this and what we injected. And we injected the version, and we can see this is the version of MySQL. So it's 5.0.51. So at the moment, we know that our database that we're connected to is OWASP10. Usually, in most real-life scenarios, each database is assigned to a certain user. So usually, you're only able to select stuff, tables, columns, data that is located in this current database. At the moment, we're logged in as root. So this web application has been connected to the database as root. So therefore, we can actually access other databases, but this doesn't really happen in real life scenarios. Usually, each user has their own database. So when they connect a web application to a database, they connect it to one database, and therefore you won't be able to access other databases. So we're going to consider that. We're going to assume that we only have access to OWASP10, which is our current database for this current website. And then the username is root at localhost. In the next videos, we'll see how we can further exploit this and do more powerful select statements.